Hello again. As you may know, my birthday is coming. It's a big one. It's 60. And I was wondering, do you think it's time to let go of these? Do these have an age limit? Big birthdays, 30, 40, 50, 60, they always just hit a little harder. Last year, I was still in my 50s. I'm still technically in my 50s right now, but not for much longer. It can be rough. We have to let go of that version of ourselves, the 50 something, the 20 something. That's probably a big one for most people. For me, turning 30 was not a big deal. I had just discovered gay friends, and it was like a new beginning for me. I felt great about turning 30, but I know for a lot of people who maybe had a great 20s, felt relevant and beautiful, turning 30 probably was pretty difficult. So we have to let go of that part of our lives. But we've been letting go our whole lives. I remember being 5 or 6 and having to let go of a big dream. I didn't even really know it was a dream at the time, but I clearly remember being really interested in fashion and wanting to make fashion, to design fashion, even though I didn't really know what that was. I remember sitting at my mom's desk, and she had these little notepads that she would write grocery lists on, and I was drawing pictures on the pad, on the grocery pad, and I was drawing a shirt and a skirt because I was making an outfit for a woman, for a girl, and creating and being in my element. And my dad came over and asked me what I was doing. And when he found out I was designing clothes, he got really uncomfortable and upset and made it clear that this was not acceptable for boys. That's something girls do. And he was just disgusted and repulsed with me. And I remember feeling the flush of shame and the heat, which still happens to me in certain situations, but completely turning red, and that shameful, horrible feeling. And that was the death of my dream, my first big letting go. And I did let go of that. We also have to let go of perfectionism. The cars are beeping their horns outside, and yeah, oh well, this isn't great cinema. In case you were hoping this would be cinematic genius. Even just being born, coming out of the womb, letting go of that safe space, like popping out and looking around and thinking, what have I gotten myself into? One really important thing I've let go of as I've grown, matured, is blaming my father for ruining my life, not being supportive. He did his best. And who knows, who's to say that I didn't choose to come here and have these challenges? I mean, according to all of the research, past lives research I read about, between lives research, we choose to come here. We choose our parents. We choose the circumstances. So I chose a challenge, and it was my challenge to overcome the unsupportive parenting that little baby Edward was born into. And I mean, I didn't really overcome the challenge, but I'm still working on it. 60 years later, it's not too late. But we do have to let go of those stories, the stories we tell ourselves about how we had such a rough childhood and now our lives are ruined because of it. We can choose to keep repeating that over and over again, or we can choose to accept and honor it and learn from it and let it make us stronger people and more deep and feeling people because we had to go through hardships. So I appreciate my parents, even though they're no longer living. They did their best. And I'm glad they were my parents, actually. We have to let go of the stories we tell about ourselves. I was recently watching a YouTube video by a woman who was able to get monetized in 10 weeks to get 1,000 subscribers. She set herself a goal. And she's an older woman, 58 or 9 years old. And I mean, she's just a regular person. She's not particularly glamorous or exciting. Her life isn't anything outstanding or extraordinary, and yet she set a goal and she achieved it. And it perplexed me for a little while, and then I just realized, yeah, she just believes she's worthy. She thinks, here's YouTube. I'm a person. I can make a YouTube channel. I can be successful at this. I have as much of a right to do this as anyone else. And I think for myself, because I have not achieved the level of success that she has achieved, I've been doing this for probably about 2 years now on a regular basis. Not counting the channels that I started and quit and threw away because they weren't growing at all. But yeah, I feel like I don't feel worthy. I don't feel interesting enough or smart enough or like I have anything to offer. And that's the difference with this woman is she didn't have that barrier, that self-imposed barrier about not being worthy of success and not being worthy to share her stories. So I'm overcoming that. I'm seriously overcoming that. But there's still a little block there. I question often whether this has any value. Me just talking to you has any value. It does any good in the world. I'm going to keep doing it. One thing I've had to let go over the years is just giving up. Just giving up so easily. Like I said, I had at least two other YouTube channels, maybe three. I remember I started one in 2014, and it was more like a making stuff, crafting things, creative, making things like I made this, and I made this. And most of the art in my house, I made this. If you can see it down here. Yeah, it was just a crafty sort of making things creative channel because I've always been a creative person. But I gave up because it didn't get views. I gave up after maybe 6 months. So I have to let go of that. And I have let go of that. I just keep going with this channel. I make a video, it gets 20 views. And people watch about 1 minute of a 15-minute video. But I keep going because I'm not a quitter like I used to be. I've let go of the story that I am a quitter. Over the years, as you grow, get older, you might have to let go of certain things. I used to have long hair, and I really loved my long hair. It never was the most luxurious long hair, but it made me happy, and it looked pretty good at times. It took a lot of work to get it arranged just properly and have it looking good, but I had to let go of that after a while because it's too thin up here. So when it grows long, it just looks scraggly and bad. So I've let go of that. letting go of your certain physical things like your body that you used to have. My very skinny, lean body. I always had a little bit of a belly, like a little tummy. But now I look 6 months pregnant regularly every day. And this just is here. And you know what? It's okay. I've had to get rid of some clothes that don't fit anymore. I have some beautiful Gucci pants, which I'm actually about to list on eBay. They used to be too big, but now, right here, they're just too tight. And I'm never going to wear them again. So pass them on. Somebody will get those and look incredible in them and really enjoy them. And so, yeah, that gives me pleasure. So I can let those go. As for the boots, I don't think I'm ready to let go of these yet because I don't believe there's an age limit on fashion. We've all seen the seniors like Iris Apfel who really take pleasure in styling themselves. Will I go to that level? Become extremely eccentric? I used to think I wanted to be an eccentric older person, but I mean, these boots, they're pretty tame, right? There's nothing super crazy. I mean, they're not the most comfortable walking boots, but standing, they're comfortable to stand in, and they do have the bounce. So yeah, those are staying. I'm not letting go of those. So as I move into my 60s, it's kind of exciting. What will I learn? What will I let go of as I transition from 59 to 60 to 65 to 70 if I make it that far? I have finally let go of being embarrassed of my age. I just saw a video today on YouTube and the woman had just turned 30. And it's almost like she was apologizing for turning 30 because she's old now. And yeah, I guess I'm just not going to be embarrassed. My sister sent me a birthday card. It said, Happy 60th birthday. And for a minute, it just kind of played with my mind and kind of made me a little uncomfortable. But there's no point in being uncomfortable. You're going to be the age you're going to be, whether you tell people or not. And I think by telling people, it helps me to not feel like I have to apologize for it. It helps me to accept it and embrace it and make it part of my story that I've come pretty far from that little kid who cried all the time to himself, kept to himself, didn't have any friends, was terrified to speak in public. In the third grade, my teacher got really angry with me because I was afraid to speak. I remember sitting in the front row and my nose was running. And she got up and she grabbed the tissue box and she came over and she said, I hope you learn to open your mouth someday, because I hadn't raised my hand and asked for a tissue. And of course, that was traumatizing. Traumatizing. But yeah, that little kid that couldn't open his mouth, look at me now, just talking to a camera, telling stories, and hoping that someone will be affected and maybe be learn or grow a little bit. Maybe somebody's life will be just a little bit better because some insight that I shared with my wisdom. So if you are turning 30 this year, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, happy birthday. And I hope you're able to step into your new decade with love for yourself and not feeling like you have to apologize or make a joke every time someone finds out how old you are. Like, yeah, I'm old, I'm ancient, because we're all eternal souls anyway. This little 20, 40, 70 years, this is nothing, nothing in the lifetime of our eternal soul. So, really, you're much younger than you think. Even if you're 90 years old, you're much younger than you really think you are. Happy birthday to me, and have a beautiful day. And I'm going to wear these boots.